Hi guys. So I was just thinking this morning about how it used to be with Josiah in many ways. Because I know the other day I said to my husband, like, is he ever gonna get over this toddler stage? Because he's 6 years old, and we still have to watch him like every second. When he goes outside, I have to be with him at all times. He'd walk off with a stranger, and he'd run out on the road. He still puts things in his mouth that he shouldn't, and I just have to watch him like a hawk. But then I remembered how it used to be even harder. Um, Back then, we wouldn't acknowledge that he had autism, um, but people, would want us to come over. And even at my in-laws, it was very hard. They have a small house and a lot of breakables, so that we'd have to go over there, of course, because it's their only grandchild. And so that was always hard. I was always like just really like dreading it because it was like a nightmare, because my son was even more hyper then, and he'd run around and there were breakables and he'd get into things, and it was scary. And I had people, not my mother-in-law didn't say this, but there's people that were like, you just need to learn to keep those breakables down and teach them not to touch it. And it's like, if I did that, I'd have more broken things, and possibly even a boy who gets hurt if I did that. So, but I had a lot of that. And of course, again, we wouldn't acknowledge he had autism. And perhaps if we had, people would have been a little more understanding. But, even children, like regular, normal children, go through that in the toddler phase. Most of them do. They get into everything, and you have to keep things up, breakables and the such. But Josiah's come a long way. Like, we can go places, and yes, he still gets into everything, but not as badly as he did. Like, we went over to my in-laws on Sunday for Father's Day, and yes, he picked some flowers in her garden, which he shouldn't have, and yes, he went over to the neighbor's yard that was fenced in because he saw a little girl with a sprinkler and he wanted to go over there. And yes, he got into quite a few things, but it used to be worse. And so, he's come a long way. And I've mentioned that before about focusing on those things, where they come. And I just remember that this morning about how it was. So, I just want to encourage those of you who go through various hard things that, it will change. And if the situation doesn't change and get easier, your attitude towards the situation will change, which will make it easier for you, because your attitude will be different. You won't have this, oh, you'll learn to be patient in the situation, and you'll learn to deal with it. Because I know I just went through something where my son, for almost a whole month, was, going to bed the same time really late and getting up earlier. And I wasn't getting even my 9 hours sleep, which is what I need. And I was having a really hard time, and I thought, oh my goodness, can I get through this? I'm going to put him on melatonin if he does this for a long time. But I put that off because I thought, okay, maybe this is a phase. And after a while, it's like, wow, maybe this is the new thing he's going to go through. And it started happening about when he started getting regularly socialized here outside with the kids. And his behavior also got worse, and his behavior in public also got worse. Like, when we went out to stores, he'd see another child and game over and no more listening to mommy. Like, he'd want them to chase him or play with him. And so whenever I'd see a child when we were out in the store, I thought, oh no, you know, because he'd be so well behaved until he'd see that child for the most part. And he'd listen to me for the most part as well. So anyway, so the last week or so, he's gone back to his old sleeping pattern, which is great because now I'm sleeping again. But I thought, I can't get through this. This is too much for me because I really need my sleep. And so it did pass. So everything's a lot easier when you get your sleep. And I realize there's people that have children that are not sleeping well, period. It's been like that from day one. I am really, really fortunate and blessed that I don't have that normally. God knew what I could handle, and if I had to do this on lack of sleep all the time, raise my son, I think I'd crack. But the Lord knows what we can handle. And also, we went out the other day to Zellers, and which is like a department store for those who don't no, it's Canadian. And he saw other kids, and he acknowledged them, of course, but it's like the novelty's worn off. He still loves being around other children, don't get me wrong, but he's not going overboard with it. He was overly social, and but no, he was well behaved, and he listened to me when we were in Zellers for the most part. It was great. I had to get him a Slinky. I took it out of the package and gave it to him to play with while we were shopping, and then bought it for him. Kept him happy. But no, he was very well behaved, and so that was like, thank God it was a phase. And so things have calmed down a lot. He's still, his behavior can still be, harder to handle lately. Um, he can be a little more sassy and physical, like not violent, but like a kid. Like he never went through the hitting phase much, but now he's starting to go through it. But he's also playing with kids that, there's one that he treats like a sister and she hits him. And so he hit her back yesterday. But this is normal for children, but he just needs to learn, obviously, that's not acceptable behavior. And so I'm just going through what probably would have been normal to go through when he was around 3, but we didn't. So now we're going through it at 6. And of course, he has the mentality of a much younger child in many respects, yet is able to do things beyond his age of a much older child as well. So, uneven learning skills. But anyway, so I just want to encourage you that if you're going through a really hard time right now with your child, that if the situation doesn't change, God will change your heart towards it and give you the ability to deal with it so that it doesn't stress you right out. But the situation as well could change. And it's just seeking God and just trusting Him, because He really does know our breaking point. And we're not supposed to be doing it in our own strength anyway. And when we're getting really stressed and overwhelmed, it's because we are doing it in our own strength. I know, because I do that a lot. And I have to learn to depend upon the Lord. And He reminds me when I'm like, God, why you put me through this? It's like, because I want you to lean on me. I want you to trust in me and draw strength from me. And that's what God wants us to do through the hard times and even the not so hard times, So anyways, another beautiful day here. Probably going to scrub out the kiddie pool for Josiah and bleach it and maybe set it up for him. We shall see how that goes. But anyways, so enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll be back, who knows, tomorrow, maybe a week from now. I don't know. Hopefully I'll get another vlog in before I go on my vacation. All right. God bless. Have a good day.